Welcome back to the 3 Count podcast, and it's time to kick off part 2 of our pod this week. Time to get into Survivor Series. And Benny, straight into it. It's that time again, your favorite time of every podcast. Before we get into the card, it's quiz time on the history of Survivor Series.
Now, I didn't know where you were going to go with this one, so I've tried to study up as much as I could, and I'm just, I feel like I'm going to really struggle.
All right, well, let's get into it. It's all a bit of fun. This year is going to be the 36th edition of Survivor Series. It began in 1987. It is the second longest running pay-per-view event in history behind WrestleMania. Now, Benny, can you tell me who has the most Survivor Series wins?
In the Survivor Series matches or overall at Survivor Series?
Overall at Survivor Series.
Undertaker.
Undertaker is correct. He's 13-5. Now, Taker also shares the honor of most Survivor Series matches at 18 with another superstar. Who is that?
Would that be his brother, Kane?
That it would be, Benny. You're on fire.
Woo!
Kane.
Woo!
Kane and Undertaker, 18 matches each. Who holds the record for most losses at Survivor Series?
Look, I only go. I'm all about winners, mate. I'm an optimist. But look, I couldn't.
I'll give you a hint. It's one of the greatest of all time.
Triple H.
Shawn Michaels has
Really?
10 losses at Survivor
Really?
Series.
There you
7
go.
wins and 10 losses, I believe. So not great at Survivor Series, old Shawn. Of those that have had 5 or more matches at Survivor Series, there are only 3 people over history who are undefeated. Who are they?
Ooh,
This is a tough one.
over 5 matches.
Yes, 5 or more matches, and they're undefeated.
Oh, there's so many people.
There's one current superstar, one who is no longer with us, and one who is no longer with the company.
All right. Warrior?
Nope.
No. Okay. No longer with us. Wow. Is that why you're wearing the shirt?
No, it's not. Actually.
Okay.
I chose this shirt because there's so many people wearing the "I'm Your Mummy" shirt at the moment.
Okay.
Vicky was wearing it. Rhea was wearing it.
All right. What about Edge?
This is tough. I'll give it to you because it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley is undefeated. Randy Savage is undefeated, and Mickey James.
Oh, that doesn't count.
is undefeated. Now, Boston will host this year's SummerSlam. How many times has Boston previously hosted?
SummerSlam?
Survivor Series.
Survivor. Yeah, I was like, huh? 3.
Very well done. 1993, 2008, and 2013. Now, this is going to be the first incarnation of Survivor Series War Games. What was the first year that War Games happened?
Oh, I'm going to say 87.
87 is correct. At NWA's Great American Bash, the same year as the first Survivor Series.
There you go.
From 1993 to 1998, War Games was a staple of which WCW pay-per-view?
Oh. I want to say Halloween Havoc, but
So the next one.
Spring Stampede.
Fall Brawl.
Fall Brawl.
They really went with the spring and autumn, fall, and
yeah.
All right. Who was involved in the first NXT War Games match in 2017?
The very first one. Was it the Undisputed Era?
Yes.
Yeah.
There were 3 teams of 3.
Yeah. It was a brilliant match. I remember watching it. I can't remember the other 2 teams though.
Sanity was one of the other teams.
Yeah.
And the Authors of Pain, a company with Roderick Strong.
Yes.
So there you go. Who has the most WCW War Games appearances? And they also have the most wins.
Ric Flair.
Sting has 12. And he also
Stinger.
has the most wins with 8. Now, there are two superstars competing in War Games this year who've previously competed in 4 War Games matches. Who are they?
Kevin Owens? No?
This one surprised me. I didn't really realize it, but
Now you've got me thinking. Who else is on that team? Sammy then?
I'll give you a hint. There are 2 War Games matches at Survivor Series this year.
You always go with the women's matches. I always forget that. Yeah, no, you got me.
Dakota Kai and Io Sky have both been in 4 War Games matches.
Wow. That's all on NXT down there, yeah.
Yeah, so they are very well versed. I did not realize how well versed they are. That's it, Benny. You can relax now.
Oh, it went okay.
You went pretty good. It's time to get to the card. Now, I'm going to mention this match only because it's rumored and Sportsbet do have odds on it.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt and LA Knight.
Well, I was almost going to ask you before we started the pod, is this going to be a match we're going to talk about? Because I didn't see it. It's not anywhere on the card, but it is rumored, and they've obviously they'll put it on the card. You would think so, or maybe
I was surprised when I saw that Sportsbet had odds for it.
Yeah,
gamble responsibly, but Wyatt $1.14, Knight at $5.
Wyatt's not going to lose his first match back, is he?
I thought the odds would be even shorter. I thought $1.14 is that was more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I thought maybe there's a chance, Uncle Howdy decides to cost Wyatt his first match. But yes, I'll take the money with Wyatt.
Yeah, that should have been week's odds, to be honest. Bray Wyatt for me. It will be interesting to see what they do with this whole Uncle Howdy thing, and if somebody does come out, or if it's only going to be on the screen again. It could cost him the match. He could get sidetracked or something like that, but you'd have to think Bray gets the win.
Yeah. You don't bring him back to lose.
No.
Unless it's like a part of his character. Who knows? But yes, Wyatt for me. We then move on to the matches that have been confirmed. I've got AJ Styles and Finn Balor. Styles at $1.52. Balor at $2.37. I've got AJ Styles. I've got the favorite in this one in what I hope is going to be a banger.
I've gone with the money as well. I think AJ takes the win this time.
Yeah, I think Judgment Day got the win at Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
Styles' turn now. He's taken a lot of L's in big matches, over the past a couple of months and years. So
over the years, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time for Styles to get a really big win. We then move on. Speaking of Winx odds, SmackDown Women's Championship match, Ronda Rousey and Shotzi. Rousey at $1.03.
Wow.
Shotzi at $10.
Yeah, Rousey takes this one easily.
I thought them giving Shotzi $10 was probably being generous. No way she gets anywhere close. It's going to be interesting to see how they make this match competitive. But yes, Rousey for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Shayna comes out as well. What like that whole dynamic there, if there's anything going on or anything like that.
I hope they long play it now. I mean, I've wanted to see Shayna be the champion for a while, but I really hope they kind of long play this Shayna Rousey thing and make it something big.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think if they do it soon, it's not going to be as big as it could be.
But you've got to look at what's coming up and where's the payoff for that though? Because obviously we've got
SummerSlam.
That far. Wow. Okay.
Because I mean, Rousey's going to get what, Charlotte or Becky at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I don't think the match wouldn't seem as big if they did Baszler Rousey at WrestleMania.
No.
But I think if they can last as being, best buds until SummerSlam, it could be a decent sized match.
That's saying that Rousey's going to have the title till then, or just they don't need the title for the match?
I think it's better with the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll find out. But that's my
call. That's a long play.
The long play. Well, hey, they've got the new writer that works on long-term storylines. So
fair. I probably more see that paying off at Royal Rumble.
They're in the ring together in the Rumble match.
No, like a women's title match at the Rumble.
Oh yes, okay, I see that.
Yeah. So you've still got 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months, still a bit. We then move on. We've got the US Championship triple threat match: Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, Rollins at $1.36, Theory and Lashley at $4.33.
I think Seth retains, but it will be really interesting to watch this whole new Austin Theory character and how that all goes. Lashley will dominate the match as expected, throw them around the ring, carry on. Seth, I don't know, is Seth a baby or a heel at the moment? Like,
I've been having this conversation with people before. I think that the more heelish he is, the more babyface he becomes.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, yes, he can take shots at Cody, but I think the more kind of evilish and devilish Rollins, people love him anyway.
Yeah.
I think if you wanted to turn Rollins heel, turn him babyface.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because the crowd will hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm actually picking an upset here. I'm picking Theory to win this.
Wow, okay.
He lost the briefcase. I think he's going to get the US title back. I mean, obviously Lashley's going to run riot, and I think, you know, he's not trying to be sneaky anymore. I don't think Theory, but I think he could sneak a win here somehow and get the title.
Fair enough. Well, it's a triple threat, so that means no DQ, does it not? So
I believe so.
Anything can happen.
Anything goes. We move on to the War Games match. We have Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Michin or me, and someone to be announced on SmackDown, which we're assuming is Becky Lynch. It's been rumored around the grapevine. Against Damage Control, Rhea Ripley, and Nikki Cross. Damage Control have the advantage in this one. Now, Belair's team is $1.61. Damage Control is $2.10. Who do you think it's going to be, Becky, Ben?
I don't know. Like, there's all this still rumor about Sasha and everything else. Like, could it be Sasha Banks? I don't know. But Becky seems the most likely.
My thought is that if you bring Sasha Banks back for this, it's kind of a waste of her return. You know, she's part of a 5-man crew. Yeah, people really want to see her.
The way I see it is she costs Belair the win, turns heel, and then it's Belair versus Sasha for the title. That's how I see it happening if Sasha is the 5th member.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nia Jax.
Oh, she just starts hurting people, man.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Naomi. But I think Becky's the obvious choice. We'll find out on SmackDown. But yeah, I'm taking Belair's team with if it's Becky getting the pin.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Rhea Ripley gets the pin, and then that goes into the Belair Ripley feud.
Do you think that'll be Belair Ripley at Rumble?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I hope they take the title off her. Anyway, I'm not going to get sidetracked by my hatred of Belair. Just
at least it isn't. At least it's not a title match, so you don't have to worry about her winning the title again.
That's right. That's what makes it harder to pick. We then have the main event of the night: War Games match between the Bloodline, the Brawling Brutes, McIntyre and Owens. Bloodline are at $1.53. Brutes at $2.37.
Yeah, I think they're setting this up for a KO win. So they can obviously, but it's too obvious now. So
is it?
Well,
I mean, the Bloodline's still the favorites.
But like, I mean, I'm talking the person who wins the match overall. So
that's that's what I think. I've got the Brutes and KO to get the pin.
Yeah, well, that's
I don't know who it's
on.
Well. One of the Usos, maybe. I don't think Solo's going to take one. I think it'll be one of the Usos taking the pin.
Yeah. Unless if it's Sammy. Unless if KO pins Sammy and it's like, even though you're still my brother, sorry, I have to pin you.
Well, here's a thought that I had. What if, you know, Kevin Owens is about to run through Roman Reigns somehow? I don't know if he's got, you know, a weapon or just about to finish him off. Sami Zayn takes one for his tribal chief.
Pushes him out of the way before the stunner.
Ends up getting pinned, but endears himself to Roman Reigns while doing so.
Yeah, okay. And then just gets in there further before he takes the title off him shortly.
Exactly. I'm hoping so.
For your big payoff.
For my big bet payoff. But yeah, so have you got the same? You got the Brutes and KO to get the pin?
I do. Even though I'm like wearing the one and done shirt, I'm still going the Brutes and KO to get the win.
Yeah, they're going to be one and done after they
One
get
and
pinned.
done.
Well, that is our preview for Survivor Series. Not too many matches on the card.
Very small card.
I don't know if they'll add a few more, or I mean, the War Games matches do take some time, so.
Well, yeah, you've got to wait till everyone's in the ring and everything. So
I guess that's the thought behind that. In any case, it is time for us to move on to the 3-count draft. As we mentioned before, with the tease breakup of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, we're going to look at the best tag team and faction breakups.
This one was an interesting one.
It was. I originally thought there was a clear 101 in this, but I've got maybe 5 or 6 now that I could take it at the first one. But look, I'm going to take the most famous one. He also happens to be my boy.
Yeah.
I'm taking the breakup of the Rockers in the barbershop, the Wrestling Challenge 1992. Iconic. Shawn Michaels putting Marty Jannetty through the window to break up the Rockers. No one saw it coming.
One of the earliest memories for me, of wrestling, it just sticks out in my head all the time. Him just throwing him through that glass and stuff. It's just brilliant.
And just one of those moments where one went up and the other went down.
Yeah, complete trajectory, just the opposite directions.
Yeah. So the Rockers break up, number 1 pick for me.
Yeah. Now, for my number 1 pick, I was going to take some close to me and my favorites and whatever else, but I think I have to take the other most obvious one, and that has to be the breakup of the Shield.
Yeah, that was I was debating between those two at number 1.
Yeah, so they were my 2 clear standouts. So whichever one you took, I was taking the other. But Rollins with the chair, across the back of Reigns, and then Dean Ambrose's face, just like, what are you doing? And yeah, it was pretty.
Triple H, there's always a plan B.
There's always a plan B.
Yeah, masterfully done. And it's such a dominant faction and just ended with a chair shot.
And they also debuted at Survivor Series.
That is true. All right, I am going to go, not going too far back, going back to 2017. NXT TakeOver Chicago, the breakup of DIY.
Yeah.
Such a beloved tag team. And, within NXT, just lifted those guys way up.
Yeah.
Ciampa became this unstoppable heel champion. Gargano was, just the most lovable guy on the roster that, the crowd just wanted the best for.
Yeah.
And lifted both of those guys up, where obviously the Rockers was a different story, but absolutely and wonderfully done.
It was brilliantly done. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned, Triple H putting that little icon down the bottom, thinking the pay-per-view's over, and then that happened afterwards. It was just wow, nobody's seen it coming. It was just bang.
They just taken the L to Authors of Pain for the titles, and Gargano just got smoked by Ciampa.
Yeah, Ciampa just killed him really much. Great pick. It was definitely on my list. There's so many. I've got so many on here, but I'm going to go with one close to my heart. It was the breakup of the Outsiders.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, back when Scott Hall and Dusty Rhodes was involved, and they turned on Kevin Nash, and was when the NWO were splitting up and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my next pick.
Slamboree 1998 against Sting and the Giant.
Yeah.
Poor old Kevin Nash.
But it turned him into the Wolfpack and big sexy Kevin Nash, and that was my favorite incarnation of Kevin Nash.
And they just really split that, the Wolfpack and the Black and White down the middle then, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were thought, okay, let's make a cool NWO faction. Let's make a proper heel one.
Yeah. And then, they always wanted Sting in NWO, and then they finally got him in the red and black,
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Great pick. It was on my list. Now, with my next pick, I'm going with one that just sticks in my memory as it was such an awesome segment. And I'm going to take Jericho and Kevin Owens, the Festival of Friendship.
That was my next pick.
Raw 2017.
When he just turns the folder over and it says the list of KO on the back of it.
The list of KO, it only
Yeah.
has one name on it. It's Jericho. Jericho just put this whole huge festival on for him.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was such a good segment. And like that, they were such a good team, you know, like they were best friends. It was amazing. So yeah, I definitely had that on my list as well. I loved it. All right, next pick. There's two I'm tossing up here, but I think I'm going to have to go very old school. And I'm going to have to go the breakup of the Mega Powers.
That was probably going to be my next pick.
Yeah. You know, Hulk and Randy over Miss Elizabeth, you know, Randy getting jealous and stuff like that.
And it bubbled along for a while.
It did, yeah, it did.
Until it, it took, Miss Elizabeth was hurt and she was like they were in some sort of medical room and he'd had enough.
He'd had enough. He lost it.
Yeah.
And then it sort of, again, that was another one of those, it really elevated Randy a bit more. You know, like he was already there, but it just sort of pushed him more and they had that big payoff between the two of them. So
absolutely. Now, tossing up between two here. Okay, I'm going to take the breakup of Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero here.
Yeah, that's on my list as well.
On an episode of SmackDown, another one that had kind of been bubbling away. You know, Eddie was starting to kind of get jealous of Rey, and finally, he kind of shook his hand for something and then just turned on him and just beat the ever-living bejesus out of him, and it turned into one of the greatest rivalries.
I was just going to say that the rivalry between them, well, that led to the whole "Who's Your Puppy" with Dominic and all that kind of stuff. So hey, there we go. The shirt was there for a reason.
The shirt was there for a reason.
Yeah, no, that feud was brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, my next one is going to have to be Evolution on Randy Orton.
I was hoping you'd leave that one to me.
Just the thumbs down from Triple H when he was up on Batista's shoulders, and yeah, that was it. Poor old Randy.
I did love in that how they didn't even bother to let it bubble along. They were like, Triple H is just not going to like him being champion, so let's just end it as soon as it
straight
starts.
Away. Yeah, like on the shoulders, celebrating, and he just goes, and it's all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Okay, Evolution at 4. That leaves me. I've kind of got two here I'm throwing up. And two of the greatest tag teams of all time, too, to be honest.
Whichever one you take, I'll take the other.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with Edge and Christian.
Okay.
Edge had won the King of the Ring, and Christian had been carrying around that damn Stanley Cup looking trophy for so long. And then it all just came to a head in an episode of Raw in Toronto, which was even better, when Christian just finally turned on him and just cemented himself as like one of the best heels going around.
Yeah, the peeps. Christian was brilliant back then. And
Captain Charisma.
Captain Charisma, yeah. Well, you remember he used to get around with Tyson Tomko?
Yep.
But it really elevated Edge, but it just made Christian such a dastardly heel, you know what I mean? So,
absolutely. And he's ridden that, he's still the same dastardly heel now.
Yeah, yeah. All right, my last pick. Now, I don't know who you were actually thinking. Were you talking about, actually both teams I'm thinking here are brothers.
Okay, yes.
But were you talking WCW brothers or WWE brothers?
I was talking WWE brothers.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave them out. I'm going to go the WCW brothers. I'm going to go the Steiners when Scott Steiner turned on Rick Steiner to join the NWO.
That is a great pick. I did have that. Super Bowl 1998, where Scott cost them the titles against your boys Nash and Hall.
Yeah, against the Outsiders and joined the NWO.
Yeah, big move, that one. Steiner Brothers. All right, so I have the Rockers, DIY, Jericho and Owens, Ray and Eddie, Edge and Christian. Benny's got the Shield, the Outsiders, the Mega Powers, Evolution, and the Steiner Brothers.
You can't beat me this week. That's mine are just hands down the best.
Festival of Friendship just trumps everything. So who did you have on your honorable mentions, Benny?
Well, obviously the Hardy Boys, but they turned on each other a couple of times, but
yes,
it just didn't sort of really. It wasn't iconic for me. I feel like
once there's more than one, turn, it's a bit less interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I did have the Hardys. I had the one at Royal Rumble 2009, which
That was the
ended up,
second time, wasn't it?
that was the second time, which
Yeah.
ended up Matt costing Jeff the title against Edge. But yeah, second time made it just not worth as much as kind of some of the other ones. Do you have any others?
Oh, look, the Road Warriors, when Droz got introduced into the Road Warriors.
Yep.
Yeah. And then nothing else of note really. And like Eddie and Ray was well, you picked them, but I thought that might have simmered down the bottom, and I was hoping to take them with my last pick. But yeah,
I had I threw back to TNA for one of them when Beer Money.
Oh yeah.
When Rude turned on Storm and hit him over the head with a beer bottle to win the title from him. So, they'd been such a classic tag team in TNA for so long. But yes,
the other one I guess was like when Evolution turned on Batista as well. But
yeah,
they'd already done it once with Randy. The Randy one was the most iconic. So
it was. And then the other one I had was maybe a little bit close to my heart. Probably not one of the greatest of all time, but Enzo and Big Cass.
Oh yeah. When I was doing a bit of research, I did see that, but I couldn't put them down.
I mean, it didn't really work for either of them.
No, well, Big Cass kind of went a bit crazy, and Enzo's.
I mean,
crazier.
Enzo was so over at that time, and I just think probably his attitude backstage cost him a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of a bit of a shocking turn, though. But in any case, that is it for our show today. We'll post the draft on the socials soon. We'll be back next week. We're going to break down everything that happened at Survivor Series. Oof. And of course, we're going to have another fun 3-count draft. Thanks for joining us, Benny.
Send us your ideas for a draft, guys.
That's right. We're running out of them. Not really. There's millions we can do, but we'd love to listen to the peeps.
That's it.
So thanks for joining us, Benny.
Thank you, mate. Have a good one. Pleasure as always.
Everyone go and enjoy Survivor Series, and we'll see you again next time on the 3-Count Podcast.